The Flash season 9, aka the final season premiered tonight. This is going to be my full review of it. If you have not seen the episode, is there one chance to click off the video now? I don't know why you're even watching this if you haven't seen the episode anyways, but I'm sure there's going to be a few of you that haven't. So I'm saying it now. If you have not seen the episode, click off, go watch the episode, and come back and watch this review. I'm going to do a promo breakdown within the next 24 or so hours when it'll be out. If not, maybe 12 hours it'll be out. I don't know yet. It'll be done tomorrow is my point. I know I'm going to have several videos coming out because we got a lot in this episode that I need to break down. I can't do that in one video. So, but this is a very good premiere. My expectations were low, and I made clear why the past several months because I was worried that Barry would be nerfed and sidelined in the premiere. I was beyond wrong because he was nowhere near nerfed. The guy faced a nuclear explosion, which I don't know if anyone knows, but that takes a lot of power. Like, yeah, facing a nuclear machine, that's like, powerful, sure. But this is more powerful than when Barry outran a nuclear explosion. Like, yeah, that's his speed. This is Barry's power that we're talking about. Barry managed to not only phase a nuclear machine that was nuclear fusion, by the way, but also managed to phase an entire explosion throughout the entire city, protecting everyone. That takes a lot of power, and I know that Barry's leveled up, but this seems like a whole new level up, and I'm all for it. So there's no Barry being nerfed. I was wrong, and I love that I'm wrong. I hate that I really thought that Eric Wallace would make him nerfed after all this time. That's what I hate about myself right now, is I thought Eric Wallace would, but he didn't. West Allen was the focus of the episode, which I made clear I'm all for as long as it's good. It was very good. The time loop, I think, was a major part of that. We had 58 time loops in this episode. The first few were kind of serious, which, I understand why for Barry. And we're dealing with the map book that Barry made and telling Iris when it's going to get printed in 3 months. And, which we found out was by Gideon and Barry's time travels, experience. He paid attention to stuff to the future and all that. So he put them all together and Gideon helped. So at least we understand why the map book happened. And it wasn't Barry just time traveling out the future to figure out what's going to happen. It was Gideon and his past experiences. So I'm glad they brought that up because it was kind of making me question, what's going on here. But Barry did end up burning the map book after realizing that, it's not the right way to do things. It led to an argument kind of between Barry and Iris, which, was whatever. It's not that I didn't care about it. It's that I was so focused on the time loop and more intrigued in that whole thing. That little argument, it didn't really bother me any. I was like, okay, whatever. They're a couple, they're married and buried something stupid. Which I understand why he did it. Why he made the map book was because he's been having nightmares about 820, which we saw one nightmare in the beginning of the episode with an actual returning villain for season 2, Tar Pit, who actually got taken down in one whole episode, compared to season 9, who got taken down in a span of like 2 minutes by Team Flash. Even though that was a nightmare, it was still, a big difference here. But it was very cool to get him back, to get the actor who played that guy back. So that was very cool as well. I think his name was Joey, if I remember correctly, Tar Pit. So it was very cool to have him back. Then we knew it was Nightmare Things because Frost appeared in it. Obviously, she did. So that ain't gonna work. We saw a little bit of Seal's telekinesis powers. That was cool. But speaking of telekinesis in that nightmare sequence, we saw it, but actually in real life, she mastered it. So, she's gonna be more powerful now. And Chester brought something along the lines of how Cecile can be the most powerful person on a team. That's the part that dragged the premiere down for me was them like possibly setting up Cecile being the most powerful person on Team Flash. I don't like that idea. I think the way that Barry's leveling up right now and has been for the past year or 2 years, I guess, however you want to debate it. I think it should be Barry, the main focus, the main power, and the full power of Team Flash. Ness can be Cecile, I don't care. But Barry needs to be the most powerful person on the team, considering he's probably the most powerful on the planet right now. I think we can all agree on that. He's more powerful than Supergirl, Superman combined. I mean, if you're down to a person who can rival Kryptonians. So, to me, that's what needs to stand happening. Again, West Allen, ton of fun. I had no problems with it, really. Again, Barry kind of being a moron, but I understood why. You know, it wasn't like the writing's all over the place. We don't understand why. We understand why Barry's doing what he's doing. We understand where Iris is coming from, which is a new thing for a lot of us. So I'm very glad that they finally did that. The cinematography, the CGI, the writing, all amazing this episode. I was a little bit worried about the aspect ratio, but they knocked it out of the park. It looked like Superman and Lois kind of levels. But also like season 1, season 2 directing kind of. Several past villains have brought up. I know Despero was, which again kind of teased another graphic novel that I did another full video on for season 10. I remember there are villains. I want to say Godspeed was brought up or something, but a lot of other villains were brought up. Barry's finally being said to become director of CSI. That was brought up by 3 or 4 times this episode, but they are fully doing that. Eric Wallace did confirm that, well, we're not going to get much CGI this season, or CGI. CSI work, I didn't mean CGI. CSI work from Barry. We're not going to get that much this season because it's not enough time. Barry will become director of the CSI department this season. Now, Eric Wallace directly tied this back into season 1 of The Flash. He's been saying this the past few weeks to rewatch season 1. A lot of close ends will be wrapped up in season 9. That was one of them. And Barry becoming director is happening this season. So we have that to look forward to, which I'm personally excited for. It's been 9 years. Barry deserves it. The new Frost. She's not Caitlin. She's not Frost. She's someone new. I predicted it months and probably a year ago that it could be Crystal Frost. I can do a full video talking about Crystal Frost. I'm not going to do it here because I actually don't know much. But my number one theory is that it could be Crystal Frost, which I would so much prefer over anything else, unless it's like legit Caitlyn coming back, which I don't think they're going to do. But she had blue hair, and it was a very cool scene between Danielle and Grant with their first introduction to each other. Owen Mercer, Captain Boomerang, which is the main villain in the episode. They're not going to do weak villains. From what it looks like, this is like a one-time thing for the time loop in that, which made sense. Which is also how the Nuke went off, because Owen Mercer set off the Nuke. He's working with Red Death. Which, by the way, the Owen Mercer, the first fight scene between Barry and Owen wasn't really a fight scene, but Barry dashing the boomerangs, very cool scene. I don't know why Barry had to run up a building and down it to throw lightning, but you know, it's whatever. I don't really care. But Mercer's working with Red Death. Now, I was not expecting to see her this episode, but I will say this. She had red glowing eyes, red lightning. The sound effect for the lightning was the reverse Flash sound effect when in season 1. It gave off heavy season 1 Thawne vibes, which I am all for. I mean, if they're going to go down the route of like a season 1 reverse Flash type villain, I'm all for it. Because we know, and Eric wants to confirm this today, actually, that Red Death will not be like how he is in the comics with, the dark metal and the dark multiverse and all that. That's not happening. It's Flash's own story, very custom and to the Arrowverse and all that. So I'm all here for it. As long as it works, which I think it will. And again, I'm very excited because it did give off serious Thawne Season 1 vibes. So I'm all here for it. which we're both going to find out more about Red Death in 902. So, when Barry had his first interaction with Owen Mercer, Barry recognized that this is a new Captain Boomerang. He was tying directly into the first Arrowverse cross, which I brought up in several videos ago. That this will be a connection to the two, which I think is very sentimental and heartfelt at the same time for Eric Wallace and probably Grant too. But this was the first ever Arrowverse crossover villain, Captain Boomerang. Obviously, he got killed off in Arrow Season 5. This is a new one, and I think he played the part amazingly well, in my opinion. Chester and Allegra kiss, which, I mean, I think we can all agree is about damn time because I've been teasing it since, what, since 7? Kent Grant was mentioned and is going to be helping Central Citizen Media, Iris' company and business expand, but she's going to do it her own way, which was kind of the big thing in the time loop. Kara was mentioned, which is the last person I was expecting to be mentioned. But I'm perfectly okay if she doesn't show up in this season as much as I want her to. I think them just mentioning her makes up for that because she still is part of this world. They need to honor that, and they did. And Joe wants to leave Central City. So this is like Jesse L. Martins, who plays Joe West. This is his exit story. I don't know how long it's going to go on for. We know he's in 910. That could just be him reprising his role for that one episode. I do think it's time for Joe to leave. I don't want him to go. But I think Joe makes a good point that he's been in a superhero life for 9 years. And over the 9 years, he's had to deal with 2 partners dying, Patty leaving, losing Iris like 4 or 5 times, losing Barry a few times, or thinking he did. Same with Iris. All these people on Team Flash leaving. The more threats that come in, the more he's being threatened, Seal's being threatened, Jenna is being threatened, Iris and Barry and Team Flash are all being threatened. It's a big burn to carry, and I'm not saying Joe can't take it, but he's been part of his life for 9 years. And even with Barry, right, Season 8, especially Season 8, you could see the toll kind of taken on him. Especially in this premiere, you could see it take that toll on Barry, not just with Iris' death in 820 or supposed death, but also, everything else that's happened to him. I mean, he's been through more hell than anyone else on the show. And Joe's seeing that, and it's a really emotional thing to think about because, he does choose to leave. And it's going to be interesting how he tells Barry and, all of them. But I'm personally excited for it, to where they're going to end Joe off. I think this is a good story for him to leave, because it does make sense, right? Like, I don't know, really the best example to look at, but Barry's been doing this for 9 years. That's not to say in 12 years Barry will hang up the cowl. Right? I doubt that, but let's just say he did. There would be reasons behind it. He's been doing it for so long, he's lost so much, he wants to be done. Passing on to Bart or Wally or Jay to continue saving the world and all that. They can do that. So it's kind of the same thing with Barry and Joe. They both can leave. Joe wants to leave. Barry obviously isn't ready yet, but, he probably will one day and down the line. So, where Joe's coming from, I think is very understandable if you understand Joe as a character. And it was very well written by the writers. I think I pretty much covered everything. But I really did love this premiere. I don't know if because my expectations were low. Or, what. There were some moments that I was like, this could have been better. Like that scene when Barry ran to the building and through lightning, he didn't need to do that. But, at least Barry tried to, do something and not get tossed on his butt by boomerangs. That was a nice change. Ride Death, again, a very cool introduction. And I think she's going to have a very cool few episodes up to 905. Hope it all works out. the new Frost, which I'm very interested in, and I'm glad they're gonna do more of it in 902. I think season 9 has major potential, and to me, 901 did not top 801. 801 to me will always be special because I rewatched it today, right before 901, actually, and the excitement I had rewatching 801 today, before 901, it didn't get matched with 901. It came close, but it didn't match. The idea that Barry just stopped Royal Flush King under a millisecond and fought Despros, can rival Kryptonians, and, everyone's leveling up. It was a cool episode. Season 9, had its highs, and it had some why are they here scenes. None of them were Barry and Iris. It was mainly Cecile. That was a big problem in the episode for me. Even though she wasn't in much of it, it was still a little bit of a problem. I mean, we had Cecile reading Barry's mind like 4 times. Reading Joe's mind another 3. That, when we can tell, I get why they did it, and at least this time it wasn't like, I can feel how you're feeling. At least this time it was, she's reading their minds to get information. But at the same time, Barry's in the scene saying what's going on, and she's interrupting him saying what he was about to say. That shouldn't be a thing at all. And, that was just unnecessary. The whole Barry being overly dramatic with the map book, I understand it. It was a very cool sequence, though. Seeing Barry go through that and then realizing that he made a mistake. I give the premiere an 8 out of 10. I gave 801 a 10 out of 10, so just so you know where I'm coming from here. The 801 have issues, yes, but the main thing of 801 for me was Barry actually being powerful, confident, and all that. And the hype that I had with it still lives on today. 901, there's still a lot of hype for me there. It's just, I don't know if it's a season that worries me. I'll come back in like 6 months when the season's done and I'll tell you if my opinions will change or not. But easily an 8 out of 10 for 901. It was a very good premiere, very fun. Felt very nostalgic too, for very much like season 1, 2, and 3. Parts of 4, I got very high season 4 vibes more than season 3 and 2. But season 1 and season 4 vibes were like very shoved into 901. And I very much enjoyed it, especially with that nuke. The second a nuke was brought up, I instantly thought of 415. When Barry outran a nuke. I instantly thought of that. So I've been saying I want our Barry to face up against the nuke. I got my wish. Thank you, Eric Wallace. I mean, I've been wanting that. And we got it. And I think this really is one of the most powerful scenes that we've seen Barry do. Like outrunning a nuke, stopping a god, several gods. This is one of the most powerful moments Barry's had in the series. And I'm glad we're getting them now instead of never. So that's always something to look at. But let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this premiere. Again, I really enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments down below if you did as well. Or if you didn't, let me know why. Thank you for watching. Have a good day. Have a good night. Stay safe. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye, guys.